Bernie Taupin.
I like your lyrics, and I could hear the whole tune in my head. It was all there, I could see all the notes, and I just had to get it out.
You can do anything you want. You can be anyone you want. And it's going to be a wild ride.
This project came to life over 10 years ago. We had just opened up Elton's Red Piano Show in Las Vegas, and some of the content that was created for that show was starting to dive into Elton's visual history and bring it to life on the screen, on the stage. And that triggered something inside Elton where he said it would be great to do a film about my life that captures that same sort of spirit.
If I was going to do a movie of my life, or someone was going to do it, I didn't want to do a biopic. My life when I started to become famous became really, really extraordinary and kind of surrealistic. And that's how I kind of wanted the film to be. I mean, I wanted it to be fun, and I wanted it not to take itself too seriously. But on the other hand, there are a lot of serious issues that had to be addressed with my drug addiction and my life and my upbringing. So we had to get the balance right.
When Elton and David gave me the script, I think they'd been trying to get off the ground for like 12 years. So I read it, and it was brilliant. I mean, I was from page one. I mean, Lee Hall had done this magnificent job of creating a musical, which isn't really a musical, a biopic that's not a biopic, a fantasy that's based in reality, and a reality that's based in fantasy.
You know, getting films together is hard. You know, there are so many things that can fall down, and you get things together. We've had the script from Lee Hall for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Getting Dexter on board, getting the right process, getting the right team of people involved takes time.
Dexter and I were trying to find a project to do together. I knew Taron, and Taron could sing beautifully. You know, Taron's audition piece for Rada was singing your song. So there was a connection there, and I just looked at the dots. So I sat with David and said, look, David, let's team up and get this film made immediately.
Here was a film that opened with a man sitting down in rehab saying, I'm an alcoholic and a cocaine addict and, you know, a bulimic. And immediately I'm like, okay, here's a list of 7 really dark processes and parts of the human psyche of someone that we think we know that are going to be unpacked throughout this story. That's what got me engaged, and then it's like, and then how do I play with that? How do I now sort of tell that story? How do I show these incredible points in this journey? You know, that's like, how do we elevate this?
And I think Dexter, you know, as a young child actor, very much come through the, you know, the British entertainment industry from a young boy up until the present day. He had the perspective that I think you need to bring to tell a story like this. He also had the great experience of working with Taron on Eddie the Eagle, which he did a fantastic job on. And so Matthew and I really thought that the combination of Taron and Dexter together, again, would be exactly what this film needed.
Once I knew that the storytelling allowed me to totally indulge all these kind of crazy ideas and not just have to go, and then he did this, and then he did that, and then he did this, then I knew I had a really great sort of like platform to just be really crazy. And because of the nature of who Elton is and who we understand him to be, it's not amazing that you would want to do something fantastical.
I mean, I love music, and it's one of the reasons I did this film is I've been desperate to start making musicals. So my problem has been trying to find a musical where the music is the best thing about it. So when ROCKETMAN came along, the music box was firmly ticked.
Let them know who you are. Put on a great fucking show, and just don't kill yourself with drugs.
As you said, you have not lived a dull life, and there have been troughs as well as peaks. And how important to you is it that the film reflected that?
Oh, totally. I mean, it had to be as honest as possible. But as I say, the lows were very low, the highs were very high. Unfortunately, there wasn't much balance in between.
No.
But, you know, it's an extraordinary life that I led from 1970 to 1990. I mean, I did more in those 20 years than most people do in a lifetime. But I prefer to release the honest version rather than, oh, he was so wonderful, you know, he was so great. Yeah, I have been wonderful and I have been great at times, but I've also done the other side of the coin. And it's important that the other side of the coin is represented in my life. And so you have to take the rough and the smooth together and mix it together. The irrational behavior, the dark moods, the depression, the self-loathing came as a result of not having a balance in my life and getting totally addicted to cocaine and alcohol and bulimia and sex, whatever. And that's represented in the film. It doesn't cut corners. And I didn't want it to cut corners. My life, how can you tell my life with cutting corners?
So the remit and the brief from the beginning was very clear, was that he wanted to have a fantasy version of his life, something that was larger than life, something that explodes off the screen, not as it happened exactly, but as the most fantastical version of it.
My film company's pretty nuts, Marv. You know, we're always pushing boundaries and trying to be different. So that's why when I read the script, I said, this is the one musical I feel comfortable putting my company's money into, my name on it. And I wanted to fight for David and Elton's vision, because they brought it to me and it was great, so it deserved to be made.
It's very much the spirit of Elton's life and the humanity of the journey that he had to go on. You know, music coming into his life as a young boy, it being this driving, unstoppable force that, you know, pulled him out of a very unhappy childhood and an unhappy home, that opened a door to a world that was full of infinite possibilities, and an opportunity to escape from the unhappy childhood that he had, and also to reinvent himself from the unlikable person and unlovable person he thought he was.
And that's the thing about the film. I'm so thrilled with it because it's an accurate reflection of who I am. It's not bullshit. It's completely the truth. And I just think there are so many instances in this movie where things happen to you and it's like, what? But that's what the way it was.
Wow.
So what is interesting for us is breaking down those preconceptions of Elton's life, because there's preconceptions on the American side and globally, as there is on the English side as well. And we get to cut through all of that. We're trying to say, you know, you think you know the story. And that's far more engaging for us and interesting.